What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's the man welding. It's been a minute since I hopped on here and made a video, but I'm back and I got something important that I want to talk about. Now, guys, this is a subject that I've wanted to speak on for a while now, but I've never really known the right way to approach it, and I still don't, but I'm just going to jump right in head first and see where it goes. So what I'm talking about, guys, is what I like to refer to as imaginary evils. And when I say imaginary evils, what I'm talking about is the stories that we create in our own head, and we tell ourselves these stories and they're not even fucking true, right? We tell them to ourselves because it's a way to remain comfortable in whatever it is that we're doing, right? It's almost like a defense mechanism that our mind creates to protect ourselves from discomfort. And I'm going to give a few specific examples of what I'm talking about. So, guys, the most common and the most specific example that I can think of to illustrate this concept of imaginary evils is people who struggle with substance abuse and alcohol abuse, right? Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that we all know somebody or are somebody ourselves who struggles with drug abuse and alcohol abuse, right? It's not uncommon. And with that being said, these people, they know that what they're doing is destroying their lives, right? It's slowly killing them. In some cases, it's not even that slowly, right? And they know this because of the obvious detrimental effects it's having on their health, their mental state. They wake up in the morning after getting drunk all night with regret, with shame, with guilt, remorse. You know, their conscience is telling them this is something that I shouldn't be doing. Yet they refuse to quit. Now, I'm going to set aside chemical dependencies and I'm just going to focus on the mentality behind this, right? And the mentality is people will justify continuing to abuse drugs and alcohol by creating these imaginary evils in their mind around getting sober or getting help, right? They will refuse to get help because maybe they're embarrassed, right? And they want to avoid that embarrassment. They think, they create the scenario in their head that, oh, well, if I pick up the phone and I call somebody and say, hey, I'm struggling and I need your help, they're going to laugh at me, or they're going to think differently of me, or that means I'm going to be letting them down, or that means they're going to have to understand just how bad I've really let this get to the, or, you know, it means all my lies are going to be exposed. Or they'll say things to themselves like, well, I would get sober, but I'm worried because the withdrawals are going to be so bad that I'm not ready to face those withdrawals. Or I don't think life's going to be that fun without alcohol, and I'm just worried that I'm going to be bored and I'm not going to have any way to get fun, or I'm going to lose all my friends, or, you know, people are going to think I have people are going to think a certain way about me, or, you know, there's a million of these imaginary evils that people create in order to justify their poor behavior and to justify the fact that they are not taking the necessary and correct steps to improve their life and to live their best life, right? Another specific example I can give of these imaginary evils is not that long ago, I posted a video that was titled, "Should You Give Up on the People That You Love?" And within a day or two of posting that video, I had somebody who was very close to me reach out. You know, they called me when I was on my lunch break at work, and they were like, hey, Steven, I saw that you posted some video about giving up on people you love. And what they had done is they had saw the title of the video. They didn't watch the video, but instead They just created this imaginary evil in their mind of what I must have been talking about, and they got themselves so worked up over what they thought I must have been talking about that they called me with a lot of concern, and the first thing I did, I was like, well, did you watch the video? And they said, no, I didn't have time. Now, granted, this is like a 5-minute long video. It was really short. Of course they had the time, but it's this sinister thing that our mind does, is it will just see a really small piece of information. Maybe there's not a lot of context surrounding it, and we will just autofill what we think it must mean without actually having any bearing on reality, right? And everybody does this. We're all guilty of it, but it's a huge detriment to your life, right? If that person would have just watched the video, they could have avoided all of the anxiousness they had built up within themselves. And I think we can all relate to that in some regard, right? Whether it's just seeing a headline in a newspaper or an online article, just hearing something, a short segment about something on the news, or something that's happening worldwide, like current events, or something about the economy. We tend to jump to these worst case scenarios, and that's a negative thing, right? Because all that does is it raises our levels of stress. It it probably increases anxiety, depression, feelings like that, uneasiness, uncertainty. And so what I'm trying to get at, guys, is don't allow yourself to create these imaginary evils that are going to guide you in the wrong direction. You need to approach things rationally, and you need to approach them being fully aware that you're either informed or you're uninformed. And if you're uninformed, you need to probably refrain from forming a really strong opinion about something. Now, one more way I see these imaginary evils play out in my everyday life is just how people will not do certain things that need to be done or that should be done because they've created these fears in their mind about how a certain scenario is going to play out. Now, quick example would be like somebody that I work with, right? Maybe they have a question that they need to ask, but instead of just being direct and asking that question to the person who probably has the answer, they hesitate and they procrastinate because they're worried about the person's potential response to their question. Maybe they're worried because they think they don't want to look like they're asking a dumb question, or for whatever reason, right? People tell themselves all sorts of crazy stuff. And like another example would be somebody who's maybe overweight and maybe self-conscious about their body, and there would be a lot of benefit to them to start going to the gym or to hire a personal trainer or to start researching proper nutrition and things like that. But they don't go to the gym because they create this scenario in their head that, oh, people are going to laugh at me because I'm not very strong or because I'm fat. Everyone's going to talk about me behind my back, or when in reality, that's probably very unlikely and just not true. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here. I hope I've made my point that, guys, we all are guilty at one point or another of holding ourselves back from good things in our lives and from our full potential because of these imaginary evils that we create. So if you catch yourself creating these false scenarios in an attempt to remain comfortable, whether that's not going to the gym, not eating correctly, not asking questions, not approaching people, not stepping outside of your comfort zone, not quitting something that you shouldn't be doing, anything like that, just check yourself and cut that shit, because it's holding you back, and you can live a much better life when you stop allowing imaginary evils to dictate your actions. And not only that, but if you see somebody you know doing it, make them aware of what they're doing, because whether you believe it or not, it might just change their life or even save their life. So guys, with that, I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. I love you guys. Take care. I'll see you next time.